It's a bird! It's a plane! It's hope for the future of DC movies! Superman 2025 by James Gunn has been out for a little over a week now, and it's clear that this movie has already made a very, very good impression. We are all truly in our punk rock hero redemption era. Step aside, Homelander. Being a good guy and a symbol of hope and justice is actually cool again. This movie was so refreshing. And even more impressive to me since Superman has never really been one of my favorite superheroes. I don't dislike him, I just, he's never been one of my favorites. And that's not just because of how he was portrayed by Zack Snyder. I'm definitely more of a Marvel fan, but I still have more DC comic book knowledge than your average person. I'm that guy that knows more than the average Joe, but definitely still a lot less compared to true fans, so I'm like right in the middle. I've consumed as much DC media as I have Marvel, and for DC, characters like The Flash, Green Lantern, and Batman have always been the ones that I gravitate towards more, but the Superman that I prefer to see is the Superman in this movie. An overall champion of good and a true symbol of hope. The guy that goes out of his way to save everyone, including a squirrel. The hero who will stop in the middle of a battle to make sure the civilians are safe. But most importantly, a human being first, and valuing the life of everyone, including his adversaries.
They've always been wrong about me. I get scared, but that is being human. And that's my greatest strength.
You know what's funny? That Zack Snyder loved to make the Jesus-Superman comparisons in his movies, but this monologue here is actually a bit more of an accurate comparison with the way Jesus would talk to a sinner. So, Superman is here, and I have to say, it is really good. Now, I didn't love it. It was very, very good. I liked it a lot. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but it was just so refreshing, man. It was just so good. I had such a good time, and oh my gosh, is that such a crime to have fun at a superhero movie finally again? It wasn't dark and depressing. It was actually fun. It was fun! Oh my god, it was fun! Sorry, I'm just in a good mood. That movie put me in a good mood. David Cornsweet, he's the perfect Superman. He just is. He's perfect for the role. And the more I've been seeing him on Instagram, just the more I've been really liking this guy, and I cannot wait to see what other work he starts to get because of this. His differentiations between Clark Kent and Superman, while still striking a proper balance between them, as they are in fact the same person, was just perfect. He brings a sort of boyish wonder and charm to the character, which makes sense because this really did feel like a coming-of-age story for Superman. We learn at the beginning that he's only been active as Superman for about 3 years at this point, and the events of this movie are really the first times he's ever started to lose fights. He has to overcome new obstacles and gain his confidence over the course of the film. Like I said, it's very coming of age. And I am 100% okay with this. I like when we get to see a superhero come into their own, and I'm glad that he's not the seasoned Justice League veteran yet. I mean, this is supposed to be the beginning, right? The corny lines from certain trailers that everyone was kind of mad about, I mean, they worked for me in the context of the film. Superman saying things like, gee whiz and golly gee, it's perfectly in character for him. And we believe that this Clark cares about everyone and wants to do whatever he can to help. That scene early on where him and Lois are in the apartment, when Lois starts grilling him about the overseas conflict that he had involved himself in before the movie began, it makes him frustrated. And he says people were dying, and he just wanted to stop that from happening. And it works for a Superman who is still a little naive. He doesn't see the political tape of needing clearance before going in to help people. He's still figuring himself out, but not in a brooding and dark way. He's still lighthearted and cares about humanity, and he's just trying to find his way in the world. Also, Superman is allowed to get mad, by the way. He is human first, after all, and he's not the only Superman who does. But to the core, he is a true hero and symbol of hope who goes out of his way to save literally everyone, while being nice and charming. That is how Superman is supposed to be. And if you don't like that, well, that's fine. Because like I said, Superman has never really been my favorite superhero, so I can understand if this type of hero just isn't for you. But if you're someone who still believes that Zack Snyder's Superman is the better representation of this character, then you're just never gonna be happy again. I am truly sorry. But you know what's interesting? Is that you may hate this Superman, but this Superman would still want you to be happy. As for the story, well, I've seen reviews of people saying, like this movie's plot is a little too all over the place, and the fact that it just kind of starts off in the middle of that big battle is just like being thrown into the deep end of a pool without any warning. But for me, during the last 2 weeks, I've been rewatching a lot of the animated Justice League movies on HBO Max, and pretty much all of those start off kind of like this movie, where they don't really give you a whole lot of explanation up front about, who's who and what's going on. They just kind of expect you to already have some knowledge of the DC universe, and you'll learn about what's happening as you go along. So maybe this is a bad way to start a movie, but I guess I'm just kind of used to this from the animated movies, so it didn't really, bother me. And that kind of goes for the rest of the characters in this film. Some people were saying that it's a little too overstuffed, but to me it just felt like the world's already fleshed out. It felt like we were dropped into an established world where all these things just exist, and everybody in this movie, like the civilians and the side characters, they all act like this is all status quo for them. So that doesn't make it feel too oversaturated to me. It feels like this is a larger world that we're just seeing a glimpse of right now, which means there's more out there that we're going to get to see in other movies. And again, that's very much like the animated Justice League movies. Those movies will just have characters pop in and out, and if you don't already know who they are, you might be lost. You're like, who the hell was that? It had that feel to it. It felt like an established comic book world that we're just getting a chance to see this side of right now, and then later we're going to see stuff over here, and we're going to see stuff over here, and that just made me feel excited. Like, oh, this place is put together. This felt like a world I want to see more of. So as far as the story and the overall plot, I didn't really care, because to me, this movie's job was to make us, the audience, see what a good Superman could be, and what a fun superhero movie could be again. This movie captures the tone and the vibe of what a Superman story should be, while also setting up a cinematic universe, and I just think it did that very well. The characters are what drive this movie, and the plot might be a little messy at times, with certain elements just kind of not really going anywhere, but I didn't care. This movie is bright and colorful, and it has a good heart and a message, and it's fun. Oh my god, that's the point, guys. It's fun. Superhero movies are supposed to be fun. It proved that you can have, the bright colors and the hopeful message and the optimism while still having, scenes of tension and emotion without being dark and depressing. Because the last 10 years have been nothing but, what if superheroes were dark and gritty and grounded in reality? What if superheroes weren't actually that super? So it's nice to see that we might finally be done with that. And this might actually be the most restrained that I've ever seen James Gunn to be in a movie. Now don't get me wrong, there's plenty of Gunn-isms in this movie, but I think James Gunn understood that this movie had to be enjoyable for all and not just, certain types of people. Don't get me wrong, I love Creature Commandos, but I wouldn't show my niece and nephew that show. And he is very good at taking multiple characters at once and giving them proper attention, albeit some of them might have had a bit more moments than they needed, and it kind of made Superman feel a little like he wasn't in the story at times, but again, Justice League animated movie, it's like that sometimes. Mr. Terrific was definitely my favorite character in this whole movie, but that goes for everybody. I mean, Lois Lane finally felt like a real character with things to do. Jimmy Olsen actually survived the first 10 minutes. Guy Gardner is wonderfully portrayed by Nathan Fillion, and oh my god, Nicholas Hoult is as perfect for Lex Luthor as Cornsweat is for Superman. He brings just the right amount of petty hater energy to this role while still being a truly awful and intimidating villain, and his aura farming is on point. Everyone in this movie did their roles justice. James Gunn understood the assignment and gave us a symbol of hope with this film. And that's really all I gotta say on it. I'm not gonna really spoil any main plot points. You need to just go see it for yourself, because it was such a fun time. And yes, while I didn't love everything about this movie, and I do have nitpicks, I left feeling so hopeful and in a good mood that I just don't really care about that. Superman is great. Go see it for yourself. I cannot wait to see what comes next from this new universe. I am so excited. And David Cornsweat, he needs to be in a Star Wars movie, man. Anyway, that's all I got about Superman. Go watch it. I hope Fantastic Four is at least this good.